wasn't this 6 pi?
Yep.
And this was 3 pi over 2, right? And then we said at 1 and -1, and because it had a vertical shift, we had a line here. Didn't we? You all agree with all that we've done?
Yep.
I know we did it yesterday, but making sure you remember it. We divided the period by 4. Okay? Yes? The period is 2 pi over whatever number's in front of x. All right? That's why we didn't finish yesterday, because I've got to make sure that you all understand where all these numbers are coming from. Did we have any points plotted?
Yes.
What we had at x to be 0, what was y? -1. Good, it was here. And at 3 pi over 2, was it -1/2?
Yeah, -1/2.
Because the amplitude is 1/2 and it goes up from my new center, right? So in here. So this point is 3 pi.
Yeah.
This x value. Do you think, because you know what the sine graph looks like, it should be back to -1?
Yeah.
Okay. Right?
Yeah.
Then what's going to happen? It's going to go down at this tick mark, isn't it, to where? -1/2? We're -1/2, but from my line it's going to go down there. Right? And then back to 0. Right?
Yeah.
So the graph looks like this. And you don't have to have this dotted line here. That is whether, if it helps you put it, if it doesn't help you, don't put it. I want everybody to see where the middle is. All right, does that make sense? So we've done a vertical shift, we've done a phase shift. Think we should do one that has both? Good idea. Have we done more sines or cosines? So you want to do a cosine?
Yeah.
All right. Y equals negative cosine negative pi over 2x minus pi plus 2. Okay, what is my amplitude?
Negative. Or is in absolute value. Oh,
Yes. Amplitude is 1. The negative means it flips it upside down, right? What is my period? Is it 2 pi over 2?
Just 1, right?
2 pi over 2. Isn't that 2 pi times 2 over pi?
So just 4.
4? We agree?
Does the negative mean anything in front of the
No. It will affect the graph, but your calculator will fix that for you. So you don't have to worry about that. Okay, what is the phase shift? Pi? What? Oh, yeah, sorry. It's negative pi over negative pi over 2. Right? Isn't that 2?
Yep.
Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
And what's the vertical shift?
2.
And it's going to be up, isn't it? All right. So, on your calculator, now if you used your calculator in another class yesterday, it's possible your mode has changed. So do you need to check your mode to make sure it's radians? That's up to you. On my window, I am graphing one period. So what is my x minimum?
0.
0. My x maximum is the period, which is what? 4. What is my x scale?
1.
How'd you get that?
Divided by 4.
Period divided by 4, right? Everybody good with that? Now, on the y, do you see that it has an amplitude of 1 and it's moved up 2? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Doesn't that mean that the graph is going to be up 3?
So we can do a minimum of 0.
You could, well, I would do a minimum of -1 so you see the axis, because you want to make sure you see those tick marks. And then what do you want for your y max? Okay, on your calculators, when you graph them, does it put an equation across the top? Or numbers or something across the top?
Yeah.
So sometimes you lose the top of your screen. So you don't want the top of it to be 3 because then you won't be able to see it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you want either 4 or 5? Because you have to give your calculator room to put all that stuff. Okay? So now can you put the equation in? Did your tick marks work?
Yeah.
You know what to do if they don't, right? Go back and change your X scale. All right, so if this is 4, this is 1. You have to tell me what each tick mark means, right?
Yeah.
And then I need a 1, 2, 3, 4. So would you all agree with, all I'm doing is making my paper look like your calculator screen.
Yeah.
Because it's much easier if they match. Have you figured that out? It's like, oh, I know where that is. Even if you're not sure, it's like, okay, the 3rd mark. So, is it in your calculator? Does everybody's look alike? More or less?
I think I did mine though.
You lost a negative. Yours is upside down, so check your negatives. Does yours look like theirs?
What's your one? Oh, okay.
It helps to kind of compare because then otherwise when we start, you're like, wait, I'm not somewhere. You know. So
That's what happened yesterday.
it's like, did you find your negative?
Yeah.
is 0, 3? Is it also 4, 3? Doesn't it have to start and stop at the same point?
Oh, yes.
I could
Oh,
tell
yeah,
by
I
the
thought
look
you were
of,
talking about the Y. I'm like, wait a minute.
no.
It's like,
I mean, remember they have to, it's a period, so it has to come back to where it started. Because sometimes you have trouble finding that last point, don't you? That's why I marked it now. What's 1?
2.
Do you agree?
yes.
And 2?
1.
And 3? Must be back to 2, huh?
Yeah.
So it's a curve, it is not a straight line. So it looks something like that. You agree?
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you this. Doesn't this negative here mean it's turned upside down? So which means it should have started at the bottom, right? This negative flipped it back over. That's why you're thinking, if you were thinking this, why is it not flipped over? That's why. The two of them flipped each other over. Now, do you see how without the calculator, this would be,
Yes.
you have to put each point in and figure the value? Well, you know, calculators haven't been around forever. Can you do this? Do you feel okay with this?
Yeah. You were so far as one though.
Well, that was like next to the last one on there.
Oh shoot.
I don't see any that are like any harder than what we have done. Okay, you all have your assignment?